Hello, algebra students. If you're with me, I'm kind of sorry, a little bit sorry, not super sorry. These are definitely more challenging expressions than we've written in the past. However, they're pretty typical GED math style, plus they involve skills we're supposed to understand as well as writing expressions. Okay, let's take a look. First one, a bag contains 3 colors of marbles, red, blue, and green. There are 3 times as many blue marbles as there are red marbles. There are 5 less green marbles than red marbles. Lott reaches into the bag and pulls out a marble at random. Which expression represents the probability that the marble he selects is green? Now, before you get overwhelmed, think about what we would do if we were finding the probability that the marble he selects is green without all this algebra expressions. Well, we've talked about, probability is wins over total, or it's the ratio, in this case, of how many green marbles that we have out of total marbles. Now, the problem here, of course, is that we don't know the exact number of green. We don't know the exact number total. And so we are going to have to use what we know in the algebra in order to kind of make these algebraic expressions that represent these things. So why don't we just start with the colors? Okay, as confused as you might be, we can write expressions for just red, green, and what was our third color? Blue. You might say, well, it's only green we're concerned about. Yeah, we're concerned about green, but we're also concerned about the total, right? So the total is going to be the reds, the greens, and the blues. So guys, we're thinking about all 3. So is there anything we know? Let's see. There are 3 times as many blue marbles as there are red marbles. Oh, R. We know we want to start with R, and they say R is the red marbles. So we'll start with R. And now I can use this fact that there are 3 times as many blue marbles as there are red marbles. Okay, so 3 times as many blue marbles means that if I take the red marbles and times it by 3, I'll get the blue marbles. And so a good expression for blue would be 3R. Now, there are 5 less green marbles than red marbles. 5 less green marbles than red marbles. That means if I wanted to find the green marbles, I'd have to take the red, but then take away 5. All right. Okay, knowing that, we can really easily rule out 2 of these, okay? Because look at what we were trying to find. We were trying to find the expression that represents the probability that the marble he selects is green. And so I'm going to need green out of the total. Green is the one that had 5 less than R. And so I don't need the ones with 3R on the top. Those are the probability. They have to do with blue marbles. So it's either B or D. They have the same top, that green portion. Okay, what's different about them is the bottom, the denominator. So think about what we need with probability. We need the total of all the marbles. The total of the red, R, the green, R minus 3, and the blue, 3R. And that is what we see in the first example. R for the red marbles plus 3 plus R, just 3R, sorry. 3R for the blue marbles plus R minus 5, the green marbles. That one has all of them in the bottom, so it is the total. And D is the correct answer. Nice, little tricky. Again, though, before you panic, just remind yourself, even if you could only rule it down to those 2, just seeing the green on the top, you have a 50-50 shot of getting the right answer, and that's what we want on the GED. You about half right is passing. So next example. A plane can travel 1,060 miles in H hours. A bullet train, on the other hand, takes 3 times as long to travel just 504 miles. Write an expression for the difference between the speed of the plane and the speed of the train. Okay, so what are they asking me to do? Let's start with that. Write an expression for the difference between 2 things. The speed of the plane and the speed of the train. So let's start with the fact that they're asking us for difference. We might be confused by algebra. We might be confused by all these H's, but we know what difference means. Difference means we're going to subtract things. We've talked about that a lot. Now, what things are we going to subtract? The speed of the plane. And difference is always positive, so I need to make sure the bigger number goes first. Well, guess what? I bet this plane travels faster than the train, huh? So speed of the plane and the speed of the train. And so the second thing would be speed of the train. Now, once again, even if you haven't figured out anything else besides the word difference, you can rule out two things, right? We are going to be subtracting the two speeds, not adding them. And so I'm going to rule out C and D. So I'm just left with A and B that have that subtraction going on. And again, already 50-50 shot. But which one of these is going to represent speed? That's the tricky thing. So the nice thing, though, is the distance formula is on the formula sheet. Remember, D equals RT? Go look at it on the formula sheet if you don't believe me. But that says distance is equal to rate times time. Now, speed is not distance. You're right. Speed is rate. But think about how I would solve for the rate, how I would get the rate alone. If I wanted to know the rate, I would have to divide away this t. The t's would cancel, and I would see that the rate is equal to the distance divided by the time. Now, do you have to do it with the formula? No. I mean, you could just think about it really hard. How would I find speed in miles per hour? I would take the distance, the miles, and divide it by the time, the hours. So the speed of the train is going to be the train's miles, its distance, per over its hours. And the speed of the train is going to be the same thing for the train, the miles of the train divided by the hours of the train. And look at that, easy enough to see. A is the correct answer. It has the miles that the plane traveled, 1,060, divided by the hours it traveled, H. And then from that, we're going to subtract that speed of the train, the miles the train traveled, 504, divided by, how do we know it's 3H? Let me go see. A bullet train, there we go. A bullet train, on the other hand, takes 3 times as long to travel just 504 miles. So it's not H, it's 3H, 3 times as long. All right, so correct answer is A. So once again, would have been really challenging to write this yourself. I get it. Writing algebraic expressions is no joke, but I love this middle step that we get on the GED where there's multiple choices for us to choose from, so we don't have to be totally fluent. If we just know enough of the language to kind of get to the right one, we're taking this middle step towards being college ready, where you're just going to have to write these yourself without multiple choice. All right, you guys, strong work. Super proud of you. I know that was challenging.